Welcome to In Her Voice. My name is Kelly Covert, and I am passionate about helping women live authentically by listening to their inner voice. Get ready to be inspired by women of all walks of life that have set aside their should-bes and not good enoughs and are standing in their true voice, the voice of wisdom that each and every one of us has inside. Hello, this is Kelly Covert, and you are listening to In Her Voice. Thank you so much for being here today, for pressing play, for saying to me, yes, I want to be with you in this hour. I'm so grateful for you and for your willingness to show up and to learn and to say, I'm here. I have a wonderful guest for you guys today, Bryn Drescher, who's a confidence coach, and she does online video coaching too, which is super cool. She's here to talk about what it means to be the lighthouse. And it's such an inspiring conversation that we have. And it really makes me think about how important it is for us to be fully connected, to be fully engaged with our own inner voice. Because when we do that, that's when we're able to access our full power and shine that light onto other people. And so to help you guys do this, I'm putting together this month a 5-day journaling challenge. We haven't done one together in a while. So this is going to be super exciting. We're going to join together for 5 days and have 5 mornings of journaling prompts that we can do together and coming together and talking about this. And it is totally 100% free for you. This starts April 22nd. And if you really want to reconnect, re-engage with your inner voice, or just take it one step further, take it one step deeper, this is going to be perfect for you. So I really want you to go sign up, kellycovert.com/inner voice, and join me for these 5 days. It's going to be a powerful 5 days. And my goal, I'll tell you my goal straight up. I was thinking about it this morning. I would like 100 women doing this. That is my goal. 100 women together, reconnecting with their inner voice, taking time for 5 days in a row to say, we matter. Are you in? I feel like you want to be in. The live link is right in your podcast app that you're listening to, or you can check it out at kellycovert.com/inner voice, because that is what we're going to be connecting with. So let me tell you a little bit about Bryn. Bryn Drescher is an expert in confidence building through presenting offline and online. She has been using her unique brand of electric energy, humor, and insight to empower audiences and individuals to share their message to those that most need to hear it. She has spoken in the arenas of large and small business, education, and personal development. Bryn believes that we all have what is necessary to achieve anything once we move beyond self-imposed limitations and blocks. Bryn is also passionate about youth and has devoted the last 6 years to speaking all over the Los Angeles Unified School District to high school students regarding their best selves while pursuing their goals. You are going to love her energy. You're going to love what she has to say. Let's get right to our interview with Bryn. Bryn Drescher, I'm so excited to welcome you to In Her Voice. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Kelly.
Yes. And when we were first connecting about this interview and trying to sort of get really clear on what we wanted to talk about today and what you wanted to share, you said to me, well, what I really love talking about is how to be the lighthouse. And immediately I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. And so I'm excited to dig into this concept of how we can be the light to guide others and to guide ourselves, because I think we can be a lighthouse unto ourselves as well. And I thought we could start with you just telling us a little bit about your journey to this place of understanding and being able to share this with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the lighthouse symbolism. I'm glad it resonated with you, because I think for me, it took a while to sort of find my place, right, in this whole like business world and like, what do I want to offer? And sort of feeling like, I'm sure many of your listeners have felt like, I know I can offer something, but what or where do I fit in and how do I help people? Because I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs want to serve. So for me, I've been a motivational speaker for quite a while. And I definitely come from meager beginnings, single parent household, raised, like my mom was always working. So for me, I think I was just coming from this place of, like I want to be more, I want to do more, but how do I do that? And so I really identify with that element of, I think, that piece that's in a lot of our stories. But for me, I've been a motivational speaker and I've been actually doing it for youth for quite a while. And I've also done it for adults here and there. And what I really resonate with the Lighthouse story is this idea that you have such a light inside of you. Like people are always telling me like, I'm known for my energy. Like everywhere I go, people are like, you have great energy. You have great energy. And I think I was always thinking I had to bring more than what I was. And so I found this quote several years ago that just basically said that a lighthouse doesn't run around the island looking for boats to save. It just stands there shining. So it's this idea of being like this beacon. And I remember even going back to childhood, which is like a really long time ago, of course, for some of us, but this idea that I heard about the Puritans, and when they originally came, they wanted to be the beacon on the hill. And I think that always resonated with me, even before I even looked at lighthouses, but just this idea that you just needed to stand there as an example, and that would bring people to you asking questions like, oh, tell me more about this, or how do you get, what is it about you that makes me want to like talk to you and learn from you? Mm-hmm. And so I think for me, it was just this really powerful moment of, wow, I don't really have to be more or do more other than just be myself and stand there in my power and own the qualities that I seek, right? And to help other people discover. And that then will impart onto them, this like sort of like a recognition. So when people says, just yesterday I was presenting at a youth conference and a young person said, I want to be just like you. And I said, well, you already are, just because you already recognize that inside of you. And so that was really a powerful moment. And I think that's what I seek to do, which is just continue to light other people's candles. And only one. I'm only trying to impact one person at a time. And of course, you end up impacting more. But my intention is just light one candle, because that candle can, light others and change the world.
Totally. Oh my gosh, I love that. And what came up for me as you were talking about this is this term that I use a lot that I call inspired potential. Mm. And I think that we all have this feeling that there's something more for us. Yeah. And what we don't understand yet often about that is that the something more is there already. The something more is our unique qualities. It's what only Bryn can bring. It's what only Kelly can bring. And I think that we are so quick to search for that externally. Like there must be something more that I can do, or another certificate or a degree that I can get, or something else that is going to make me reach that potential. When really the potential is about owning all of who we are and being all of who we are.
Absolutely. I think that is so, I think you really put it in a really wonderfully succinct package and way there, because I think it's really interesting, this idea that oftentimes we think we're teaching others, but we're really just bringing out what's already there. This idea that you already came, rather, for lack of a better term, like cooked, right? You're not in process, so to speak, but it's our job to sort of reveal those flavors. And, like anyone to first, it becomes a journey inside, right? Because the lighthouse has to light up from within, right? And it's a very powerful light, but, it's owning that power of that lens and that light that is the journey of our life to discover more of what's already there. And then that in turn is what lights up others. And so I really like the way you put that inspired potential, because it's really, the potential is already there. And I think we're all like, I resonate so much with what you were saying with the whole, like, I keep running around looking for, like boats to save, or what do I need to learn to be able to be more equipped to help these people? And it's like, you don't have to keep doing that. You just need to own who you are, which can be quite a journey, but it's a beautiful journey if you embrace it and know that you don't have to be done, so to speak, because you never get it done, to help others and to really inspire others.
Yeah. So let's talk about that journey to know yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's what I hear you saying is what is required to be the lighthouse.
Yeah.
To be the light that guides others to their own light. Really, it's like light to light to light.
Mm-hmm.
So how does someone do that? Like, how does someone learn who they are? How do they know who they are?
Well, yeah, that's like that's an interesting question and a complex question all at once, right?
Yeah.
Because, one is this idea of like letting go of this idea of the achievement leaps, as I call them. Like you're always going from one achievement to the next achievement, but it's sort of like process versus results. So for me, it's looking deeply at how you do anything is how you do everything, and then noticing those patterns. So really just becoming an observer of oneself is the way to know oneself. And then to look back and say, oh my gosh, like I have these patterns, or I have these behaviors, or interesting, I didn't really realize that I did this, that, and the other in this way. So becoming sort of like, I would recommend journaling. I would recommend meditation, which is a huge part of my journey. And I think just sort of like that whole growth and knowing that you're a work in progress, so to speak, of this unveiling. I always said that we're already a masterpiece, right, underneath. And like all the challenges and the obstacles in your life are like the chisel chipping away to reveal the masterpiece. So knowing through all the challenges that you're being revealed, and it's your job to just be aware of those revelations as they come to the surface. And it's like, wow, okay, I didn't realize I had that. And so, because, they say that Michelangelo saw David in the big piece of rock before he put chisel rock. And so that really resonated with me, this idea that it's just this unveiling process. And as we just observe and step back and sort of view the work that we've done so far and what that's telling us more about ourselves.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I would also add to that too, that I think that just like you say, that when someone sees in you something that they want, they have it already. Right. Because if they couldn't see that in you, then
they couldn't have it.
They wouldn't have it, right?
Right.
So this idea of projecting and reflecting.
Yep.
And I think that a really powerful tool, if you're courageous enough to use it, is asking people who you trust, who you're close with, to reflect back to you what they see in you. And I had to do this for a course that I was taking a few years ago. And the challenge was send out a text to 3 or 4 close friends, or put it on Facebook or whatever, asking people if they could describe you in 3 words, how they would describe you, or what they see as your strengths. And it's hard to ask people that, because you feel like, oh, well, I'm asking them to give me a compliment, and that's weird, and this is so strange, and people are going to think that I'm like, I have a big ego or whatever. But I did it, and it was so revealing to me, because it's what I knew I was good at deep inside. And it was also such an encouragement to me that these things that come easily to me, that I do without thinking about, that are just my way of being, are my gift.
Yeah.
And I really feel that sometimes we need that reflection back. And that's where a good coach can come in. If you don't feel confident to ask the people that are close with you, or if you're not sure if they see the things that you want them to see. I don't even know if that's the right way to put that, but I find that sometimes asking for that reflection can be a really powerful tool.
No, I agree. And I think it's really important to realize that we've been conditioned to think that asking for feedback is going to reveal something negative. And so I think there's a lot of fear there that everything that I think about myself that isn't the not enoughness syndrome, that is going to be what they're going to tell me. And I always say it's like hiding in plain sight. People really see the beauty in you if you just be but willing to be open to it. And so when you ask for those, hey, what do you think of me? I think it can go one of two ways. In general, it goes positively, but also to understand that it's your job to own those qualities. So if they say something that doesn't resonate with you, you can just toss it aside. But like you said, really trusting who you're asking, like not just asking anyone, because people do project onto others sometimes things that you don't need. So you have to be really mindful of who you ask and the clarity with which you ask. So they know what you're asking for. Like if you could describe me in 3 words, what would you say? And they may say, well, I don't know. What are you looking for? And you're just like, well, just give me the first 3 words that come to mind. And then also, even if you really trust that person, just being open to saying, this does not define who I am. Yeah. So not over-identifying with other people's opinion of you, but being open to, wow, because most likely it's going to reveal something beautiful that you didn't consider. Yeah. And that is what is the beauty of that exercise. And then also on the other end, if there's something that comes up that you're like, I don't resonate with that, just sitting with it, marinating with it, and then also just deciding that you could toss it out if you didn't want it. Like if it doesn't help you or serve you in any way.
Yeah. And, I just thought of a question that I often use as an icebreaker in workshops. And that is, what 3 words would your best friend use to describe you? And that throws people, they're like, oh, well, I don't know. And they really have to think about it because you know that your best friend loves you and that they see all of the goodness in you. And so really asking yourself that question from their perspective is powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it forces you to think more positively about yourself, right? Because we can be very self-deprecating. Yeah. Like, well, we're thinking of all the 5 things we need to work on the most. And our best friend is like, you're amazing, you're awesome. And so oftentimes I would say if I was coaching with somebody, what would your best friend tell you in this moment, right? Or what advice would you give if your best friend had this same challenge, right? Yeah. Right? Because then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I tell them, you're amazing, you can do this. And I'm like, okay, well now pull out a picture of you and tell you that same advice,
Yeah. Okay. So I want to know what 3 words would your best friend use to describe you?
I recently did this and unfortunately I don't remember what she said because I have the text in my phone and I don't want to take the time to look it up. But I remember, I think one was honesty. I get a lot just in general because I recently asked my friends is that I'm very good at giving straight no chaser advice. And then probably the best thing that I heard was from my brother really, which was he said, which was surprising because we don't always have like the most, I would say like smooth relationship. But he said that I was really good at helping people like sort of connect the dots was the best way to put it. Like really good at relationship building and helping them connect the dots.
Love that.
I really liked that. Yeah, I was like, oh, I love that.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's such a good exercise. I really encourage you guys to do it in one form or another because I think that would be really revealing to you. So once you're on this journey of observing yourself, of starting to know who you are, how do you find the courage, the confidence, the willingness to stand still and be the light? How do you step into that?
I think that is really a wonderful question because again, it's like, you have to be open to the journey, right? And so knowing first, it's like, okay, I'm discovering about myself. And as you go into that, I think, like I said, things come to the surface that you're kind of noticing. As you become more aware, you start to notice around you, wow, a lot of people suffer or struggle with this same thing that I've been struggling with for a really long time. Could be confidence, could be self-worth, could be just whatever business focus you want to do. And so I think it's this idea that I've always resonated with also the quote, of course, big surprise, Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world. So sort of walking that walk with yourself, and then knowing that as you go into yourself, knowing that all will be provided for you. And it doesn't mean don't do anything, because a lot of people get that step wrong in manifestation or whatever. But it's this stillness, there's like that quote that stillness speaks. Mm-hmm. Like when you get still, then all of a sudden these opportunities come to you, and then somebody calls you up and says, hey, I need your help with this. And your first thought might be like, I don't know. I don't know that I could do that. So it's saying yes, even when you think, I'm not sure. Because some of the greatest opportunities to like really serve come through just saying yes. So saying yes when those opportunities come, and knowing that all will unfold, so to speak. So it's like, so I think it's first just really getting clear in yourself that you were put here to serve and you have gifts. So owning those, and then knowing that all of a sudden you'll be tapped for those gifts. And so first, just recognizing your gifts, like, what am I really good at? Here's what my friend said, like we talked about in the previous moment. And then, okay, and what am I really passionate about? And then like, okay, well, if I could put that all together, what would I, okay, well, why don't I just put that in action in my life?
Mm-hmm.
So
and
I think
boom, there's your inspired potential.
Boom, there's your inspired potential, right? And then all of a sudden you'll start being tapped for it. And then it'll be like, okay, I'm onto something here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the beauty of this is, regardless of where you are in your life, maybe you are, at home with your kids.
Yeah.
Or maybe you are in the corporate world and you have a 9-to-5 that you're not planning on leaving. That does not mean that you cannot use these gifts in every area of your life.
Agreed.
I mean, I think that it's so important to understand that the thing that you are good at, Bryn, the thing that you're good at, we need you doing that in whatever capacity that looks like. And I feel that that's true of everyone. And so when you're sort of finding those gifts, figuring them out, and starting to step into owning them and using them, how do you, like it's the using part, right? Like, how do you understand how to use that gift? Or do we need to understand that?
No, I think it's important to, I don't think you have to have it all figured out. I think that's the one thing. They say the only time all the ducks are in a row is when they have a goal, right? So a lot of us are, like we said, going out and getting all these certifications, or feeling like we have to go back to school, or we need to learn more. And I think it's important that, I love that you brought in like the mom at home, the 9-to-5er, all those different people, because a lot of people sort of feel like, I can't be more than this, or maybe, was I meant for more than this? Because there was a time in my life that I definitely thought like there was like a predestination idea, right? Like maybe this is where I'm supposed to be. And I think that you are right where you're supposed to be for the level of where you're at, like, for your mindset, your consciousness, or just like in your journey, so to speak, where you can serve people at this level. And so I think it's first, once you've identified your gifts, then you just sort of ask, how can I be used, or where can I serve today? And just asking that question, your mind starts to go out and look, or energetically goes out to look for opportunities to serve. So if I'm in a 9-to-5, it doesn't mean that I'm necessarily supposed to quit and go on a sojourn through the desert or, to Tibet. But what it is like, okay, well, in the office, I've noticed that there's not a lot of happiness, or maybe people are typically not joyful when they come here. So if that's the case, then maybe I'm supposed to be the light here for now, right? And then there'll become a point where you may outgrow this level, right? Where you're just like, you know what? I need more. I want. So I think it's starting to use it in small ways. I always say, every journey begins, every 1,000-mile journey, whatever, begins with the first step. Mm-hmm. So I think it's serving where you're at, and serving in the way that you can. I saw a beautiful video about a mom that said she didn't have a lot of money. But what she did was she made meals for people, and had people, and said anyone could come over and eat at her house. So I think it's like, how can I serve, even though I don't feel like I have a lot or a lot of opportunity, but what's the most I can do in where I already am with what I've discovered.
Mm-hmm. And I think that you'll find too, as you step into your gifts are effortless to you.
Yes.
Right? So it's not hard for you to be energetic.
Exactly.
Right? That's your thing, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, one of my gifts is I am like super optimistic and positive. Like that comes really, really easily to me.
Right.
And so it's not hard to
Right.
do that. I think sometimes we think that the work is going to be hard. And you know what? Sometimes it is, but really just sort of being in your gift and using that is not hard. It's so easy. Sometimes we don't even realize that that's our gift.
Yeah. I love that you said that, because that was the other thing, going back to the light analogy, right? I would say, like, how do you know where to use your gifts or what to do? Look for darkness. So like people in the dark. So like, yes, if we take for granted that everybody knows what we know, or that because it comes so naturally to this person that this other person may know exactly what we know. And I think it's really important that you look for darkness. And I don't mean like, everybody has the dark side and all that, but we're not necessarily talking about the negativity aspect of the dark word, but we're just saying, look for people that are not in the light like you are. So in other words, if people aren't joyful, where can I bring joy? If people aren't, knowledgeable in this skill, wow, I didn't know people didn't know that. So like asking questions, like, finding out, because like you can just go onto Google and find out how many people are searching for, how do I stay positive? How do I, deal with the bully at work and not get reactive? There's so many areas where you can just sort of validate that there's people in the dark about what is light for you. And so then that's the idea, thinking about if you had light or heat and people were in the cold and the dark, you would probably give it to them because that's who you are. You're a server, you're a lover, you're passionate about helping people. So then finding those people and finding it in your circle, because it exists in the 5 people that you know or whatever. And then you go beyond that.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that you do in your coaching is you really help people be more confident online.
Yes, absolutely.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I feel like there are a lot of listeners out there who would like to step out in a bigger way. They would like to shine their light in a bigger way in the online world, in the online space. And so can you talk a little bit about what you do and how you help build confidence in people online?
Yes, absolutely. So I think that everyone that goes into the entrepreneur space, right, got involved because they were passionate about serving and helping people. I think those words come up very often with entrepreneurs, serving and helping. And when you typically start, it sort of feels like the whole thing of like pushing a merry-go-round, right? It's really hard at first. So you just feel like you have to like really work. And what I think though is that there are some people who are really good at what they do and sort of own their own little pocket in this smaller sphere. And so but I think that they're avoiding video because they have the not enoughness thought, or who's going to listen to me, or sure, I'm helping people in this corner of the world, but why would people over in that corner of the world want to help me? So first, I think it's just letting people know and sort of like validating them to let them know that there are people out there that are continually searching, and knowing that just because one person is talking about this, even if they're as big as Tony Robbins, for example, who's always been sort of a inspirational figure for me as far as a speaker, right? Because he has this amazing tribe. And it's like, well, if there's already Tony Robbins, how do I help people? And it's like,
where do I fit in?
Yeah, where do I fit in? And so I think it's letting people know that as a single mother, or as a stay-at-home mom, or as a person that may be from an immigrant family, your story is going to resonate with someone in a way that Tony Robbins' story doesn't, or whoever the expert is, the known, quote unquote, known expert is in your space. So helping people build confidence online is getting them started sort of with the baby steps, right? Your story, developing your story, and then telling it, that is going to help people resonate with it. So when I tell my story that, like I grew up and I never thought I was ever going to be anything, like nobody in my family was sort of outside of the 9-to-5 world or having a certain amount of income or freedom in their life. And me thinking that maybe I was predestined to sort of follow in their footsteps is going to resonate with someone else that maybe felt the same way. So helping people sort of get started, telling about themselves, opening up, And knowing that them hiding is keeping people in the dark. So definitely leaning on their why more than anything. Like, who do you want to serve? Well, think about that person on the other end that is scrolling through Facebook or scrolling through Instagram and looking for somebody that gets them.
I think, I totally love that. And I think you're right that if you want to serve people, if they know you,
right,
that's going to help.
Yeah.
That's going to help. And I think the other piece is, I know I have a lot of, particularly women entrepreneur friends. I'm in a group, a local group, and then I'm in a couple of Facebook groups that I connect with female entrepreneurs quite often. And I feel like a lot of them say, and they're like kick-ass business women, like they have a rocking coaching business or whatever their line of work is. It's amazing, but I literally never see their face on Instagram or on Facebook. And it surprises me. And when I ask them about that, or if we're talking about that in our group or whatever, they'll say, oh, well, I don't like how I look, and there's this reason and that reason. And I think a lot of it comes down to how well we are loving ourselves.
Absolutely.
And understanding that I feel like, if we put something out there, we feel like other people are judging us, but really it's us judging us.
Exactly.
It's other people see your amazingness. Other people see your beauty and your light, and they see your heart and your love and your compassion and your empathy. They don't see, the freckle on your nose that you don't like. They don't hear your voice not being the way that you want it to be. They see all of the good. And when we can start to change our own story about what it means to love ourselves, I feel that really allows us to step into a place where we can show our face, where we can speak out, where we can use our voice to serve and to connect and to love on people.
No, I love that. I think when you were talking, the image that came up was someone drowning and me sticking my hand down and them not wanting to take it because I didn't love myself enough. Oh. Right? Like, that's our thought, right? Yeah. Like, they're never going to let me save them because they're going to be like, oh, she doesn't have enough self-confidence to pull me out of this water.
Yeah.
They're reaching from their darkness for light. You have it. And you're concerned that because, going back to what you said, a freckle on the nose, they're like, no. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, we have to really... and I know, like, not to put it in like really like kind of like what seems, what's the word? Not compassionate. I don't know. I would say discompassionate, but I don't think that's a word. But basically, like, get over yourself so that you can help someone else. Like, but it becomes love yourself. Like, love yourself to the point that that. And people like the mess in the message. They like the test in the testimony. Like, they're not looking for perfection. They don't identify with that person's like, well, I grew up rich and, my dad gave me this business and I've been successful ever since, because they can't see themselves. Yeah. But they see themselves in the story of, I don't have it all figured out, but what I did, this little corner that I got figured out, I feel like I can help one person. And if you're that person, I want you to come over here and be on this one step higher place, because the view is so much better one step up. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to go one step up together, mm-hmm. And keep rising the staircase of, self-worth and actually, self-awareness and all that. And they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I think, and women in particular are the biggest ones that don't want to get on video. I mean, not that men don't struggle with self-worth. And I always say that when I work with the young people, because I think they think only women have body dysmorphia issues or, like, self-worth about, just the vanity metrics. But I think it's important that we look at what is it that I'm, like, if I didn't look perfect, right? Which that's the whole problem with social media, right? This whole highlight reel.
Oh,
so we need
sure.
To, right. Yeah. The highlight realness of life, right? And everybody's positive and saying life is great. And you're like, well, my relationship isn't that great, or my business isn't doing as well, or whatever the case is. And I think it's important to know that if you come on and say, hey, I was once here and now I'm here and I want to help you get to this other level, right? Because I know what it was like to be down there. Then all of a sudden people are like, yes, they've been where I've been.
Yeah. And I think I try to be in my own presence online on Instagram and Facebook really, really transparent about the fact that we're all on a journey. Like nobody is perfect. Nobody has reached the pinnacle. Right. We're all, some days it feels like we're gliding. And then there are other days it feels like a trudge.
Exactly.
And that is normal. And like that's what it means to be human. And that's what people connect with.
Yeah. So I looked at, oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when they can connect with you, that's when you can share your gift.
Exactly. So for me, it's like starting with clarity, right? When I work with people, because it's confidence and then, clarity, then confidence, right? And then we do the content, right? And then the credibility comes. So it's just putting yourself out there and then becoming like just ubiquitous or everywhere around your subject. And so doing podcasts like this or, having a presence on Instagram. So everywhere where your people are hanging out, you're there saying the same thing. Eventually, enough people are going to be like, wow, this person really knows. And so I think it's important to lean on your why. Like what you've seen from your rockstar coaching business, there's at least 10,000 million other people that need that same help. And why not you? Yeah. Why not you to be the one to help them? And the fact that somebody else feels exactly the same way you do, that they're not perfect enough. And I call it the perfection paradox because it keeps us in this middle place, this medium place of life. And knowing that there's the bad place, which a lot of us have risen out of, right? The reason why we're coaching. And then there's the good place where some of us have gotten to, and then other people just start staying in that medium place, that they've reached some level of openness to this new idea of life, but they need that push to go to the good place. And so I think it's really important that they have people that, are out there shining the light and saying, you can do this too. I've been where you've been, and you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be one step ahead of the people that you help. And so just reminding them that, but also giving them the tools to take the tech fears out of it, to take all the, let's do this step by step. Because if I give you a map, suddenly you feel like, okay, I can follow this versus where do I start? I mean, because there's a lot of noise in social media and it's like, well, do I do Facebook? Do I do Instagram? And there's a million others. And people telling you every day, you need to be on Pinterest. You need to be doing this. And it's like, well, let's start with Facebook where there's 2.1 billion people. And maybe think that if you can only own like 1% of 1%, you know what I mean? Like you'd still be able to help a lot of people. So.
Yeah. Well, Bryn, thank you so much. I love this conversation so much about being the lighthouse. And I see you being the lighthouse also. And I just want to honor that because you are practicing what you preach. And I think that that's so powerful and so empowering to everyone who sees you. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, Kelly. I really appreciate it. This has been fun. And
you're welcome. Well, we're not quite done. Don't think you're going to get off easy. I still have to ask you the final question.
Okay.
But before we do that, why don't you let people know how they can find you?
So you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Bryn Drescher. I have a page called Win with Bryn. Helps you remember how to pronounce my name too, because it looks like Brian. But also bryndrescher.com. And Instagram and Twitter, I'm at Bryn Drescher, and it's spelled BrynDrescher.
Fantastic. And we will have links to all of those right in your podcast app, so you can click right through or go to the show notes page at kellycovert.com and find all of Bryn's goodies there. So my last question to you, Bryn, is in your life right now, what is your inner voice saying to you?
Step out and be my inner voice is saying it's time, basically. It's time. It's time to get out there and really like share on a bigger way and stop playing small. So
love it. Oh my gosh. So I'll just share this with you today. Just this morning, I posted on Instagram a picture of me holding a little card that says take up space.
Yeah.
And I love that so much. Like that message it's apparently the message that the universe is sending me today too, because it's this idea of like, no more,
Yeah.
It's time to take up space. It's time to step into greatness. And I can't wait to see you do that.
Thank you. And I'm looking forward to you as well. So this has been wonderful. And thank you guys for listening.
Yes. And we will talk soon, Bryn.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, you guys, are you ready to be the light? To be the lighthouse in your home, in your community, among your friends, among your neighbors, among the ladies that you hang out with? You've got this. I just really want to encourage all of you to be brave and to own your amazingness, to own all of those things about you that only you can do in the way that you do them. You are so special. And when we start to own that and we start to see that we have the power to literally light people up, we have the power to acknowledge those gifts in each other. That's another way that we can be that light. But when we stand tall, when we take up space, like Bryn and I were talking about, and say, yes, I am here for a reason, that is powerful and it is also empowering. And what I mean by that is we become powerful and we encourage other people to be powerful also. And that's how we change the world. Literally, that is how we change the world. Man, I'm getting jazzed about that. So exciting. And I really hope that you will take the time to really get to know yourself, like Bryn was talking about, because it does matter. It really, really does matter. So I just want to remind you that if you are feeling like you really need to have that accountability to connect with your inner voice, I have my 5 days of journaling challenge coming up starting on April 22nd. It's 5 days of prompts to help you connect with your inner voice. And I'm going to be doing a little live video every day. And you really have a community of people doing the same work that you're doing, only individually, of course. So you can really learn how to connect to your inner voice and listen to what it's telling you about who you are and about how worthy you are and how deserving of your own love you are. So to sign up for that, it's totally free. Go to kellycovert.com/inner voice and just put your email in and you will be good to go. And if you are listening to this after the 22nd, if you still go to that link, you can sign up and do it on your own. We just won't be doing it together, but everything will still be available to you for that. So I really want to encourage you to go check that out. kellycovert.com/inner voice. And that's INNERVOICE, inner voice, not in her voice, although that will take you to another spot on my website. So you guys, just in case you didn't know it, can I just tell you how amazing you are? How wonderful you are, how uniquely and wonderfully made you are. You are worthy.